Hi, I'm Sandy Kemsley of column2.com. I'm here today with Simon Nichols and some of the other Futuroot team members to hear about what they're showcasing at the 2022 Intelligent Automation and Artificial Intelligence Summit. Simon, can you tell me a little bit about what we can expect there?
Yes, Sandy. Yeah, that's right. We're going to be at the summit on the 26th and 27th of September at the Mercure Hotel in Berlin. Come and visit us on the Futuroot stand. You're going to be able to find out how hyper-automation and process mining can help your business grow. It's a fascinating subject that starts to look at how you can integrate corporate ESG compliance.
I'm joined now by Prathamesh Bingardi, Futuroot's Managing Director, and Anand Argade, Director of Product Development. Welcome to both of you, and thanks for joining me here today.
Thank you, Sandy.
I want to discuss a bit about process mining in the larger context of intelligent automation and hyperautomation. Now, automating business processes is a hot topic for organizations that are looking to improve their performance and increase revenues, but a lot of companies are also looking to improve environmental, social, and corporate governance factors, or what's known as ESG. Now, regardless of the industry that you're in, there are some common ESG metrics, such as greenhouse gas emissions, or employment diversity, or cybersecurity practices. So, Prathamesh, how do you see process mining in particular contributing to a company's ESG operational excellence initiatives?
Thank you, Sandy, for bringing up this very, very important and relevant topic. So ESG, as most of you would be aware of, stands for environmental, social, and governance. So investors are increasingly applying these non-financial factors or KPIs as part of their analysis process to identify any material risks or growth opportunities that could arise. So something like robotic process automation, hyper-automation, and process mining as a technology can actually simplify part of the ESG compliance workload and help automate and expedite the ESG compliance. But before you try to automate certain things, you always need to understand what kind of compliance issues or improvement opportunities exist within the environment. And that's where the mining aspect comes into picture. So process mining as a technology can spot opportunities for automation as well as offer continuous improvement and monitoring. It helps
because if you don't know what you're doing already, then you don't know where to apply the improvements.
Exactly. So overall compliance, monitoring, and checking whether your ESG overall workload is being managed is something that can be taken care of in a big way from using process mining as a technology.
No, that's great. Now, Anand, can you tell us a little bit about the packages or the templates that Futuroot is offering now that is going to give companies a head start on their ESG efforts?
Yeah. In fact, it's a valid question, Sandy, because in terms of the industries, obviously now the focus is on the green revolution, focusing on the CO2 emissions, and actually kind of also help companies understand where the really problems are happening. So in terms of how Futuroot comes in picture is basically kind of tracking the key metrics in terms of deliveries, in terms of ensuring that we have right number of batches getting delivered at right time, so that there is no reworks, there are no extra distribution networks getting consumed, which in a way kind of contribute to the CO2 emissions. So that's where we have actually kind of built active metrics which help companies to understand where the problem is happening in the process. And for supply chain companies, it in a way helps their lead time. That way it's a cost saving avenue, as well as ensuring that there is something where there is a control happening on the green, on the CO2 emissions, as well as focusing more on the green revolution.
It seems a little bit almost like Six Sigma type of initiatives where you're trying to reduce waste. And by reducing waste, it's going to have the impact of also reducing greenhouse gas emissions because you're not doing rework and so on.
That's right.
That's interesting. And ESG, it's one of those horizontal things that goes across any business. But I know that we also have to look at some of the industry vertical best practices. Now, most process analysis and automation tools, including process mining, can be used on data from any industry. You don't have to buy this particular tool for this particular industry that you're working in. But, and just as you were describing the head start that companies can get on their ESG efforts by using some of these templates and connectors and so on, you can also move more quickly on your automation projects if you have some of the KPIs and best practices that are specific to your industry already available in those tools too. Now, Prathamesh, can you tell us a little bit about the types of things that you need to link process mining to a true actionable and reusable industry template for different industries?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a very valid point. So when we talk about renewable hyperautomation, the renewable side has two things. One thing is all things that we've just spoken about, which is the ESG aspect. And second is how much of a lift and shift that can actually happen from a process mining standpoint. So until now, process mining as a technology has been used mostly for proof of values or investing a lot of effort in a particular organization, but also not able to reuse that effort when we come to some other industry, some other company within the same industry sector. So the idea about renewable enterprise from our perspective, renewable process mining from our perspective, is to build all those KPIs which are relevant for a particular industry sector, be it media, be it manufacturing, be it supply chain, healthcare, life science. And those KPIs those connectors can be lifted and shifted to other organizations. So at least 70 to 80% of the effort can be reduced in a typical overall process mining implementation. So that is the idea about an overall renewable process mining and a hyperautomation story.
And obviously you need to have some sort of industry expertise to be able to bring this sort of capabilities to your customers too. It's just you can't kind of guess at what supply chain might look like. You actually have to have some amount of hands-on experience at doing that as well. So you need to bring in your own industry knowledge in helping to build those templates that can be used for your customers. Now, and obviously there's different considerations for different industry templates, as you have going to have connectors to specific line of business systems. You're going to have predefined KPIs. Can you tell me about one of those verticals? I know that you do a lot with supply chain. What do you do specifically that would help a company improve their supply chain processes, and how can you give them sort of a head start on doing those those industry specific improvements?
Yeah. So in fact, we have been actively working on working with companies to kind of build their systems for all the operations. Yeah. In fact, we have been very much active in the ERP space as well, where we have, so that's the reason we have a very strong ecosystem, which includes industry experts with whom we have actually kind of worked out and built packages. Like, for example, if you talk about, let's say, pharma industry, the GXP compliance is extremely important. Yep. So now we understand that space, and our packages are basically kind of built in so that that element of a GXP compliance is embedded in those metrics. Yep. So likewise in other industries as well, working in the auto industry, working in the media industry, we have a very good understanding of how the compliance element is built in those particular in those particular verticals or in those particular businesses. And that's something which really helps us to very smartly and proactively build some of the KPI metrics or some of the controls within the product that becomes like an enabler for the companies to quickly start on this particular journey.
So having that experience, that hands-on experience, helping these customers improve their processes over a period of time, then lets you get the generalized knowledge out of that and build that back into the product for use by more companies.
Correct. That's right.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So we've looked at this horizontal issue of ESG metrics and the need for industry vertical best practices that you want to look at in really any intelligent automation effort. And especially in that all-important analysis that happens in process mining. As we were saying earlier, if you don't know what's going on in your processes, it's going to be really hard for you to improve them. So having the built-in knowledge about both horizontal and vertical best practices that are built right into your product can be a huge advantage. Now, Prathamesh, I just want to finish off our conversation. Can you talk to me about your vision for how you're going to be providing this type of ESG horizontal and also the industry vertical knowledge within your product and working with your customers on that?
Yeah. So I think that is where the hyper process integrator story comes into picture. I mean, again, this may sound like a very newly coined term, but the fact remains that Futuroot as a platform, as a process mining platform, is imbibed with all these ESG relevant KPIs and the connectors that are required to accelerate the overall return on investment and the overall value with regards to process mining. But beyond that, parent company for Futuroot, which is Persevere, is is one of the very well-known automation service providers across the globe. So we are regularly dealing with all the leading RPA providers and the AI ML providers, as well as OCR technologies and so on. And to back it up, then we have a very strong arm which focuses on enterprise resource planning projects, specifically with SAP as a product, but not necessarily restricted to SAP. We have varied expertise with regards to other ERP products such as ServiceNow, Oracle, and so on. So with all that knowledge that is being gained over large enterprise implementations across the globe, those learnings are getting incorporated within the platform itself to make it a truly intelligent platform and not just stick to process mining. And that's where the process intelligence aspect comes into picture. So a combination of all of this actually makes us a hyper process integrator and not just a pure play service provider of process mining as a technology.
And I think that's a really valuable combination of skills, is that if you, again, by having that hands-on project knowledge of working with these companies and helping them to solve problems, and then being able to bring that knowledge back into the product, gives you a much better platform for addressing the actual real world problems that they're having.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's all we have time for today. Many thanks, Prathamesh and Anand, for joining me for this interesting conversation. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank
Andy.
you, Sandy. Thank you.
Wow. Hope that you enjoyed that little taster of what to expect when you join us at the conference on the 26th to the 27th of September at the Mercure Hotel in Berlin. We look forward to seeing you all there.
Thanks, Simon. That's great. Bye for now.